So 1:20 to go before the start of race number 1 as the 11 teams now get themselves into position. France unable to go today, so the pressure really on the rest of the fleet.
Yeah, first thing we can see here, Todd, is a really short downwind leg in front of the crowd there. This start will be absolutely crucial. You need to lead at Mark 1 or it's going to be carnage.
So the teams are getting themselves into position and they will begin the dance before the start of race number 1. Race number 1 set to go here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix, Portsmouth, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. And this will be critical, Stevie. You could have absolute carnage because of the way this course is set up.
Just such a short sprint to Mark 1 and then an even shorter sprint to Gate 2. We see the boats coming back, and I like Canada's move here. The late tack in, you can see the favoured triangle lines on there. The blue pathway shows us the optimum place to start. Our Rolex pole predictor sits on board Spain at the moment, but I think Canada have got the control in position. New Zealand, it's aggressive from Burling up at the top of the line. He's going to need to be oh so fast to get over the fleet from here. Spain and Canada are in the pole position, but who's going to get their timing right? Line to the right-hand side of our screen will turn white when we're good to go. United States winded up. Switzerland winded up. New Zealand at the top of the line are so fast. Ooh. Brilliant from Dylan Fletcher and Emirates Great Britain. He's going to lead at Mark 1 from here in New Zealand. Well, they're going to be on the outside of the bend, and it's going to be hard for Burling and co. They're going to need to be very, very fast. Early manoeuvre coming for Emirates Great Britain.
At mark number 1, it's the home team, Emirates GBR, that have the lead.
Oh, look how fast the Kiwis have gone there as well. Rottwell, Denmark, though, aggressive. Sehested holds them wide. Spain dive on the inside, and it's now a sprint to Gate 2. The fans are going to get a great view, but look how congested the fleet is here. Great Britain are going to take a left turn. Keep it simple. We heard Fletcher say that. Anticipate here, Burling doing an extra manoeuvre and turning right to try and clear the traffic.
And keep an eye on those channel markers as they get to Gate number 2. Look at this as they come around there. Hannah Diamond, you know these waters maybe better than anyone else. This is a tricky race course with all the race furniture out there.
Yeah, really tricky race course, and of course no practice racing yesterday, so this will be the first look at the course for a lot of these teams.
It's really tight in at the bottom there, isn't it? And I think we can see Emirates Great Britain have kept it simple. I think when you're out in the lead, that's the sort of standard thing to do, really. Try and find that little bit of space, minimise manoeuvres. But Lisa, we've seen Great Britain turn left, New Zealand turn right. Do you fancy either side of the course?
I actually really like where the New Zealand team is going. In general, where the British were is the lightest part of the race course. So I would say favourites in New Zealand right now. But, you know, the Brits are the locals. Surely they know what they're doing.
More pressure coming in 10.
I think interesting at the moment, we're coming on board here. Nick Hutton, he's the only one on the handles. Big pressure weekend for Hannah and Dylan at the back of the boat there. We can hear Hannah and Dylan, good communication going on, but they need to get things happening because they've had a disappointing middle of the season.
Another unique part of this course right here, you're going to see Spitbank Fort coming into view just on the right-hand side, and that's another big obstacle they're going to have to avoid throughout this race.
We love a roundabout in Great Britain, though, don't we, Hannah?
Yeah, that's right, but you've got to watch out for that wind shadow it produces. Looks like Emirates Great Britain have just managed to get to the windward side of Spitbank Fort, so no issue for them there.
New Zealand look like just about managed to sort of cement that third position. They were in a big pressure position round Mark 1, but they've done well in Spain. We've seen how fast Spain have been getting through the season. But look at this leaderboard on the left there. Yep. The Bond Flying Rouge, Australia, they're up to 8th, but they were in last at Gate 2. Not the start Slingsby would have wanted.
Obviously left, small bias, but I think we're good, eh? I think we're good.
So leg 3 of 7 as they made their way to Gate number 3. It is Emirates GBR that have the lead. Rockville, Denmark sits in 2nd. The Black Foals of New Zealand 3rd. Then the winners of the last 2 events and the defending champions from season 4, Spain, sit in 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big lead for Great Britain now. I think Emirates Great Britain from here, they're just minimising those manoeuvres, Hannah, and just trying to maximise speed around the course, really.
Yeah, that's right, and trying to, just like you say, try and keep it really simple, and that's obviously paid dividends for them so far. The fleet's going to get a bit compacted as we come into top Gate 3 here, with the Kiwis coming in on starboard.
Switzerland need to keep clear. And now right of way New Zealand, Switzerland, oh, that was an aggressive turn in front there, but the Kiwis have just kept it round the outside. Spain are entitled to room inside Switzerland here, but they probably choose to go straight and keep themselves in some space.
So we've seen a bit of a difference in kind of strategy here. Emirates Great Britain have got Hannah Mills at the back of the boat in that strategy role. A lot of the others with 5 people on board have chosen to have their strategists move forward to that grinding position. Strategy's key, we know that, and it's paying off for them so far.
Massive lead here on race number 1. We're scheduled for 4 today. This is just leg 4 of 7. It's the home team, Emirates GBR, out in front. Now remember, they currently sit in 4th place overall on 41 points, but they're only 5 points out of 1st place, which is currently being held by the Spanish.
Top 6 boats overall, there's nothing between them really, is there? Spain have looked like the form boat in recent times, and they're right in the mix here, Spain. Again, remember, it's all about consistency at this point of view. As we see our SailGP insights, we dive up into the Oracle Cloud. What's the wind speed looking like? Well, it's pretty similar across the course, really. Great Britain and Denmark, somewhat unsurprisingly, they're in a similar patch of water. They've got similar wind speed.
Wing up here, Nick, before we turn. Okay, nice mate. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
It doesn't get much more smooth than that, Hannah. A lot of calm conversations on board with a big lead. It was 9 seconds at the last gate, and now as they approach the DP World Gate at the bottom of the course, Denmark will come through, and they will trip it. It's now they've lost 3 more seconds, so they're 12 seconds behind the leaders.
And this is a dream situation when you're leading. You've got all the boats behind you following with that left turn. Makes it really nice and easy to cover the boats behind you.
And I think if you're in the first 3, you're fine, you're happy, that's a good result. Great start to the regatta. I think when you're 7th, 8th, United States, Australia, here we see Switzerland, they may be going to split the course and try and find space on the other side. It's when you're in the pack that you're maybe slightly compromised by the other boats ahead of you, and you have to look to try and force something. What's Slingsby going to do? Is he going to follow, or will he try and work some magic?
Our star Canada and Giles Scott has made some improvements. They are now up to 5th place, and just as Stevie predicted, it's Tom Slingsby not liking what he saw on that left-hand side, did not want to follow the Americans or the Canadians, so he has opted to split the course and go to the right.
Yeah, if he followed the United States there, it'd be in disturbed wind, effectively less horsepower going into the rig. You're just definitely going to go slower, so he's opted to sail a bit more distance, find a bit more space, and see if they can use what we know to be one of the fastest boats on the race course, or fastest teams, we should say. All the boats are identical, of course.
Meanwhile, it's Emirates GBR out in front. Their lead over 100 meters over Rockwell, Denmark, who sit in 2nd place. The Kiwis sit in 3rd, Spain in 4th. Switzerland has now moved up to 5th, overtaken US SailGP, who have dropped down to 6th.
I will. Goes.
Well, here was the start one more time. Keep your eye on Spain on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, right on the inside, and that's what they've done quite well this season. Is often your position at Mark 1 can be, 3rd, 4th or 5th, but it's whether you can then decide your own tactics, and to do that you want to be on the inside. Wow, look how close that was, Italy. Ruggiero Tita had to make a really dramatic move. As we can see, it's getting a bit loose on board the Spanish boat. That's an unforced error. They got a bit too high on the foil. Joel Rodriguez there just flying the boat a little high. Oh, it got very, very loose on that downwind, and that was a lot of distance. That could be the difference between them being ahead of New Zealand and not at this stage of the race.
So that was back at the start of race number 1. Remember, we've got 4 races for you today, 4 fleet races. And as everyone tries to build their account as many points as they can, and then after 3 more races tomorrow, it is the event final where only the top 3 teams will compete.
Had an overtake there, Todd. New Zealand found a bit more wind away from the shore there on the side of the course that Lisa liked on this upwind leg, and we're just downwind now from here, so that could be a fairly crucial moment. We see Rockwell Denmark, well, they're fast, but they're going to pin themselves outside here. Very much the controlling position here with New Zealand, but Rockwell Denmark's on fire. Look how fast.
Leg 6 of 7 in race number 1. There you see more of the obstacles, the channel markers out on this course. Good time to check in one more time with Lisa Darmanin down on the water. Lisa, you talked about the favorite spot of the course early in this race. Has it changed at all, and what's the forecast for the rest of the day?
So it's quite gusty out here, Todd, and shifty. So I think the British are doing a really good job of going to better breeze and getting the good angle. But talking to the sailors before the race, they're saying there's so many obstacles out here. So if the wind's not hard enough, the boats aren't hard enough, they've got to choose where to go on either side, these islands and pylons. So it's a real minefield out here, but it's a masterclass by the British.
And Hannah, you talk about it, you made the point, there was no practice racing yesterday because there was not enough wind. So for some of these sailors, this is literally their first chance to race.
Yeah, that's right, a bit of a baptism of fire. And you can see the Brits just come around that last mark there as they're on the way to the finish. Real
This is going to be a pretty special moment here, isn't it, in front of the home fans.
And what a way to start off your home regatta. Race number 1 at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth goes the way of the home team. Emirates GBR take the win.
What a start to that race by Emirates Great Britain. Absolutely brilliant. It's going to be really tight between New Zealand and Rockwool Denmark. I think New Zealand managed to just dive inside. Burling judged his lay line into that bottom mark perfectly because Rockwool Denmark had gone round the outside. They'd gone further faster, but controlling position with the black foils, and they're going to bring it home in second place here.
Pete Burling and company showing their class. They take second. Rockwool Denmark, they needed those points in a big-time way. They currently sit 8th overall. Remember, they've had penalties earlier in the season, so they need to get points in a big hurry. And then it's Spain, the winner of the last 2 events, and the current leaders overall, sitting on 46 points. They will pick up a 4th. Room for improvement there, Stevie, but they still look very good. And the Swiss coming in top 5.
Yeah, and remember, it's all about getting to that top 3 tomorrow. So it's about consistency at this point. So I'd say all these teams, probably even Canada, are going to be happy enough with that. They've not had a shocker. They've had an all right start. Of course, Emirates Great Britain are going to be over the moon, aren't they? Giles Scott, another, Canadian, but of course he's done a lot of sailing in Portsmouth himself here because the Canadian boat brings it across the finish line. So another team that'll have a lot of local support, I'm sure.
And the Bonds Flying Rouge, they will finish in 7th. Tom Slingsby hoping that'll be their worst result of the 7 fleet races. Italy and Red Bull Italy and Rogera Tita, they'll check in at 8th place, so they had some improvements. And now you've got a battle between the Brazilians and the Americans coming down for that next position. This is a valuable point. And look at Taylor Canfield. He's pushing them.
He did a good push there, Todd, didn't he? Great push by the US team there. Brazil had to keep clear, and you don't mess with a world match race champion in that sort of situation.
So Taylor Canfield comes through. They will pick up that extra point over Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil. And the Germans, now remember, there's just 11 teams out of the water because of France's incident early on, and they will pick up no points.
So it's great to see so many people getting down, getting to see the F50s there, getting to see how cool sailing can be.
And Emirates GBR lead them into the start box. The winners of race number 1, remember that's 10 valuable points. Over the course of 7 races, you want to have the most points or at least be in the top 3 to make the event final. All right, so here we go. 1 minute to go before the start. They get into that start box, and they'll wait for that red line to turn white, and then the racing is on. Hannah Diamond, you've raced in these waters. How much can you learn after 1 race?
I think a huge amount, but it's about whether you can execute it in the next race. We can see the shape of the start box here. There's a lot of distance behind the line, so getting your timing back is really, really important.
Well, and timing back, talking about, look at Spain. They are late for me. I think Spain are going to really struggle from here. We could see the downwind end of the line in the middle of our screen with the blue triangles flashing towards it. That's the pole position. But we saw New Zealand with a very different strategy, much like the Bonds Flying Rouge towards the top end of the fleet here, that they found space and they just hit the line fast. So it's all about hitting that line quick. New Zealand are going to get a gap in behind Rockwool Denmark. He could pull a bit of a Harry Houdini here on board the black foils. Rolex pole predictor sits on Brazil, but I don't see where they're going to get through. Germany looks early. All about timing now before that line turns white. Canada could sneak out the bottom of the line, and the Bonds Flying Rouge are going to be fast.
This is the umpires. Early start penalty, Germany.
Oh, Germany have got to go right to the back of the pack, and they look like they were really early. Oh, here we go. Italy are going to lead here at Mark 1. Rogera Tita, this could be huge for the Italians as they get to Mark 1, and they're going to have control of the race course.
At mark number 1 in race number 2, it's Red Bull Italy and Rogera Tita, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist that has the lead.
2, 1.
First manoeuvre. We see the Bonds Flying Rouge there, getting it held off the course by Burling. Burling very aggressive with the Australians there, forced them wide in the background, and Tita was late with his manoeuvre. Schneiter drove it like he stole it at Mark 1, and he's managed to dive inside the Italian, sailed about 75 metres less distance. Brilliant from the Swiss team.
Sebastian Schneider at gate number 2. The DP World Gate will dive in, and they will take over the lead. So the Swiss out in front. The Italians sit in second, but look at this. The Union Jack and Emirates GBR currently sitting in 3rd place.
Yeah, Burling hunted the Australians, and he's cost himself a position in doing that. He opened the door for Fletcher to get through. First boat to turn right is the Bonds Flying Rouge. They're forced wide, really, as we see Emirates Great Britain are going to put the clamps on the black foils from here, and these 2 titans are going to fight it out towards the boundary.
Great start once again for Taylor Canfield and US SailGP. They're in a top 5 position.
Yeah, and we heard some rumours, didn't we, Hannah? Mike Buckley's not on that boat, is he? There's been a bit of a change in the strategist role. The CEO, Mike Buckley's decided to bring in Andrew Campbell as a strategist on board.
Yeah, that's right. We've talked a lot about what changes that team's going to have to make, so that's obviously an option that they're going to be trying. With 5 people on board at the moment, they've got their normal grinder, Anna Weiss still grinding on there. So not so much of a big change for this race, but we'll see how this plays out for the rest of the weekend.
Taylor Canfield still at the wheel for US SailGP. They sit in 5th place right now after finishing in 9th place in race number 1. So they need some valuable points for the next 3 races here on day number 1. But the race is on. The Italians and the Swiss going at it.
Yeah, this is an absolute test of boat speed across here. This is really a wing trimmer versus wing trimmer. And of course the Italians have got one of the best in the business, 3-time champion when he was with Australia, Carl Langford. Slightly able to control the situation here. You can choose the angle you sail because Switzerland must keep clear. But when they come to manoeuvre, it'll be the Swiss with the right of way. So I still see Switzerland leading up at gate 3, but it's a real test of boat speed.
The Swiss have done a really good job to hold that lane there. It wouldn't have been easy across on that starboard leg.
And there you see Spitbank Fork that resides right in the middle there of the English Channel, so you have to avoid that. Plus, the channel markers there. This is such a busy part of the UK with ferries coming in and out.
And quickly before we get to gate 3, Lisa, it looked like the Bons Flying Rouge almost lost a bit of distance there. Has it changed out on the race course at all?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out what's going on, but what I think is that there is a lot of current obviously moving around here. It looks like there's a bit of a boost. So where Italy and Switzerland went, looks like you get a really nice boost up that side. So I think there's something going on with the current. I'll try and work out for you guys.
Get Lisa to work that one out for us, told us we get to gate 3 and the Swiss have held on, but it's Emirates Great Britain. They are fast out there today.
Focus on us, bearing away in 3, 2, 1.
And they will turn away. So the Swiss and the Italians will opt for that right-hand side, and Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR go left. And Hannah, like we saw in race number 1, after those first 2 legs, it's going to get a little congested down here.
Yeah, that's right. And actually for the Italian team, they've got a new strategist on board this weekend. So really a first proper day sailing in an F50 for Julia Gross.
Yeah, tight moment here. Wow. So tight. New Zealand dive inside. They have the right of way. Bons Flying Rouge, well, they're entitled to go through that gap there. It's all clean and all fair, but you wouldn't expect anything less with a couple of the top drivers in SailGP. And it's now Rockwool Denmark that need to keep clear of New Zealand. It's so congested when you get back in the pack. Hard to keep yourself at optimum speed when there's other boats in your way. And Spain, well, they got some work to do.
Yeah, Spain, after a terrible start, they've moved themselves up to 8. I want to remind you that's only 11 boats. Normally we have 12 out there, but there was that incident with France before the start of racing, and they are done for the day.
It looked to me like the right turn worked out quite well for Ruggero Tita on board that Italian boat. He crosses ahead. We saw the green circle on the Italian boat and the red circle on Great Britain. That was because Italy had the right of way, but now the roles have reversed here, and the British are going to take the wind away from the Italians. They've again sailed less distance. There's no doubt the British are minimising the distance around this racecourse today. Hannah Mills, Dylan Fletcher seem to be working pretty seamlessly together today, as the Swiss need to be confident they're ahead, or they're going to have to give the British room.
Running up here.
Oh, it's tight there, Dylan.
Look at this.
That was so tight. Dylan was punchy round there. Wouldn't expect anything less, but that was maybe a little closer than he needed to be, giving the fans a bit of a show as the Swiss are going to manoeuvre away right in front of Emirates Great Britain.
And Hannah, Dylan came in so fast, I don't think he wanted to give up any of that speed, but man, that was a small margin of error.
Yeah, that's right. I think they were hoping to get an overlap, but just didn't quite make it. And now they're going to have a tough life in this lane here with the Swiss on top and the Italians working really hard to squeeze them out from underneath.
So it's an Emirates GBR sandwich right now with the Swiss off to their right, the Italians to their left.
Yeah, and I think all 3 boats will be able to sail their own mode here. No one boat is particularly controlling, but the Italians are in danger of getting into the disturbed wind of Emirates Great Britain quite soon. The British are sailing a fast angle. They're choosing to sail a little bit more distance, but they're going to keep tactical control over that second place.
But they lost a lot doing that. 2, 1, angle.
How tight isn't the pack there?
Yeah, all the way.
Oh, it got loose though. They flew too high. That round up there, it's so easy to put too much lift on the main foil. Raz Costa normally so good at judging those round ups, but he had a little bit too much lift on there, overloaded the rudders, and the whole thing span out.
So Rockwool Denmark, after doing some great work, getting themselves up to 8, they dropped back to 10th, and this is the team that finished top 3 in race number 1. So the racing continues on. The Italians, Red Bull Italy, dropping off the pace just a little bit, and now it's a 2-boat race out in front. 1 and 2 owns Switzerland and Emirates GBR.
And 30.
Then we get the Oracle Cloud down here and we can just see the wind speed. It's quite even across the course. It shows the British in less wind, but that's probably because they're getting slightly affected by the wind that the Swiss have put onto them. The wind have disturbed the air and taken a little bit of breeze off it.
Understood. Stand back, away.
Bonds Flying Roos last second there as they had a collision course date with Spitbank Ford, and so rather than do that, Tom Slingsby turns away, and now they're off to the left-hand side.
We'll go for the split at the top.
Okay.
Well, he was going to, but he couldn't make it, could he, Hannah?
No, that's right, and I think the Swiss have been really smart there. Make the team behind you do an extra manoeuvre. They'll just sail away from this mark, and it's going to be hard work for Emirates GBR to catch up from here.
I think that's a sensible decision by Dylan there, because it's very easy to get too lost in the battle to just win the race and satisfy the fans and everything, whereas a second place, when you add that to a first in the first race, in that whole battle for the final, that's just more than good enough. I mean, let's remember that Denmark had a brilliant first race, but they're sat back in 10th here. Consistency is king, and if you're not consistent, you're going to struggle to be in Sunday afternoon's final.
Right now, the consistency belongs to Emirates GBR. They won race number 1. They're currently sitting in second place in race number 2, so they are looking very good with 2 more races to go today. You got to wonder what's going on with Rockwell Denmark. After a stellar showing in race number 1, they've dropped back to 10th. The Canadians, they are in 8th place right now, and they finished 6th earlier on. So to Stevie's point, Hannah, you've got to keep yourself really, we always say that you can have one bad race over the 7. You can't have 2.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, ideally you don't pick that up early in the series. So anything you can do to just claw those points back in the racing is really, really important.
How much of this do you think, Hannah, the debrief after tonight in 4 races, will they say, okay, it's a learning curve? Some of us have never raced here before, so tomorrow we'll go out there and smash it on the 3 fleet races that are scheduled.
Oh, it's huge. And we heard Pete Burling mention it in the press conference. You've got to keep learning in this league. There's no one standing still. The level's raising all of the time. So it's not just about keeping up, it's about making those big steps forwards.
It's learning, Todd, but I do think these venues aren't that different. You know, the Swiss have come out and they've shown they've learned quick enough.
So here we go, race number 2, and we haven't said this since Chicago. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Swiss. Sebastian Snyder in Switzerland get the win in race 2 here in Portsmouth.
Oh, that's some Emirates winning moment for the Swiss team there. And as you say, it's been a long time between drinks for the Swiss team on those race wins, so they're going to be happy with that. But Dylan and crew, wow, they're going to be happy. They did such a good job after race 1.
And their CEO, Jimmy Spidhill's going to be very happy with what Red Bull Italy did. They had a great start, and they hold on for a 3rd place finish. That's huge points for the Italians. And now the race is on. This is going to be really interesting to see who comes in where. You've got the Kiwis just ahead of the Bonds Flying Roos for 4 and 5, and Spain has worked themselves up to 6. The Americans look like they're going to finish in 7th, so an improvement for them from race number 1.
Yeah, nice job there. It's interesting to hear Dylan there saying how that tight incident with the Swiss, he thought he had right to go in there. I heard from the chief umpire, Craig Mitchell, he definitely didn't, but it just shows these things have a real fine margin.
Camera windscreen. Hey, turning here, inside the Kiwis. And turning up slow. Nice, guys.
Taylor Canfield and US SailGP, they get a 7th, so they are improving. That's always a good sign, so they'll want to get 2 more good races in, probably top 5s for them if they want to build a nice account towards Sunday, Super Sunday, where the pressure is really applied. And here comes Giles Scott, North Star Canada. They'll finish in 8th with the Germans, who have really had a terrible start. Stevie crossed early and had to go behind everyone else. They salvage a 9th place, and then it'll be Rockwell Denmark. They've got to be the most disappointed. They go from a first race 3rd to a second race 10th.
Story of their season, isn't it? I mean, you know, there's no doubt. You look at a lot of the data, and that Danish team sail the boat as well, and in a lot of instances better than anyone. But that's not showing up in the results. You know, and that's something they've really got to address at this point in the year, because it is consistency, as we say. And, you know, disappointing one here for Mubadala Brazil, but I think they'll still be pretty pepped up. They had the first race win, of course, in New York last time out. But yeah, tough start for Mubadala Brazil. But yes, as you say, I think for Rockwell Denmark, it is that consistency. How do we find consistency?
1:25 to go before the start of race number 3, the 3rd race out of 4 today. Near perfect conditions today as we get you ready for this second half of racing today. Remember, tomorrow we've got 3 more fleet races and then the event final on Championship Sunday. So we'll get that all dialed in. There you see some of the road traffic furniture they have to deal with as all 11 teams get themselves into position in the start box. So 1 minute to go, and here we are. 11 teams battling out for the 10 points that go to the winner of this race. Remember, we are short one team because of the incident that France had early in training before the start of racing today.
Yeah, once again, that position is pretty favoured, isn't it, down the line? I think what's different to a lot of the other events we have is it's such a short run to Mark 1, and it's then so important that you can turn right at Mark 1. You have to be on the inside, and Taylor Canfield made an aggressive move down there. He's trying to put himself right at the bottom of the line. The tricky thing you've got being in his position now is, can you hit that line going fast? That will be the challenge. But New Zealand, Italy and Australia look quite well positioned for me, but they are going to have to hope for a gap. North Star Canada towards the bottom of middle of our screen. They're going to be well positioned to accelerate, but it's all about timing now. Emirates Great Britain start to wind it up the line here. There's going to be a gap through the middle for the Brits, I think. Looking for this line to turn wide, looking for the timing.
Oh, and I think the Brazilians
this is
early.
the umpires' early start penalty, Brazil and USA.
Brazil and USA, they were way early here, and I think we're going to see New Zealand and Spain at the bottom end of the line. They're going to be on the inside of the turn at Mark 1. I think the Kiwis are going to lead from here. Spain makes some space. Expect Botin to spin it hard at Mark 1.
Your board, and Tim, go down, 3, 2, 1.
Little slow for the Spanish. They've opened the door for the Swiss again. I'm staggered. He did such a good job of setting himself up, and then he was late dropping the board. Has he given the Swiss an overtake?
So mark number 1, it is the Black Foils, New Zealand out in front. It looks like Sebastian Schneider and the Swiss will hold on to second, and Diego Botin doing a great job. The Spanish currently sitting in third.
Yeah, but I think the Swiss will get on the inside there, and the Spanish have done such a good job with their pre-mark positioning. I mean, New Zealand nailed that manoeuvre. Let's give them fair dues there. They nailed it, and they're going to be gone. They'll be down the road here, the Black Foils, I'd imagine, but the Swiss are up to second. Mistake by the Spanish.
Remember the Kiwis right now who have the lead, got a second place in race number 1. They get a fourth in race number 2, and they would love to get the win here in race 3.
Tell you something as well, Hannah. Bon Flying Rouge, Slingsby's not really got out of the blocks today.
No, that's right. We still haven't really seen them at the front of the fleet yet, have we? And different starting strategy, maybe. We know it's super important to be as close to the inside as you can at Mark 1, and we just haven't really seen them there at all.
And we've talked about how important the starts are, Stevie. I don't know which sailor said it to me, but it was a classic. And they said at the last race in New York City, we couldn't start a lawnmower.
No.
That's how bad we were.
Well, that can well be the case, that is for sure. We see Rockwell Denmark have got space. New Zealand are gone. I imagine New Zealand will extend from here. Is it staying pretty similar down there on the course? Is there any hope for the Bons Flying Rouge fans, Lisa?
Yeah, nice, yeah. What did you do at the top here?
Maybe caught Lisa at a busy moment there. Unfortunately, literally as I said, that commentator's curse. Australia sailed out of bounds, and they've had to take a 20-metre penalty, which has cost them even more distance. They're right in the pack. Slingsby's a fighter, we know that, and we're on board here. They sail this boat so fast, but they need to be very, very calm.
Let's check back in with Lisa. I don't know if you heard Stevie's question, Lisa. Any conditions changing out of the last race?
I would say that it might have slightly died off a little bit, so a little bit lighter, but in terms of racetrack, it is rinse and repeat. If you can lead at Mark 1, turn left and turn left again, you're looking pretty good. Not many overtaking lanes out here. I think that fort in the middle is creating a little bit of a wind shadow that anyone turns right, but it's really clear what course people want to do, so if you're out in front, that makes it easy.
Well, New Zealand has set it up perfectly. They've put an early manoeuvre in here. They knew they had to do 2 more manoeuvres. They did it early. They've got 1 more turn now, and then they'll be around gate 3, heading out to that side of the course that Lisa said was favoured. Back that other way, so strong position. But Switzerland look quite well positioned here. Could be 2 good races in a row. And what the Swiss have lacked this season is consistency. We've seen moments of brilliance, and then they've backed it up with moments of disaster. But right now, this is looking like a good backup to the race win in the previous race.
Looks like they're going to take the option to follow the Black Foils around this next gate mark, and the Spanish look like they're doing the same.
Everyone's desperate to get that way. The thing you see is everyone learns the course, especially when you're in the front few boats. None of those boats are really being affected by anyone else, and all of them, they'd bite your hand off for a top 3 finish. It's the boats back in the pack. It's the boats like the Australian Bons Flying Rouge and those other boats that are in the pack. They might have to roll the dice here and try and find that bit of space to use their boat speed.
But look at the right side of the course is just jam-packed with congestion, and that's 11, not 12 boats out on the water.
Nice gust at 2, 1, mark on the bow.
Well, yeah, that's just 'cause it's the favoured place to go. I mean, there's a good saying in sailing, which is the good people go where the good people go. I mean, you know, if there's more wind and there's better conditions on that site, you're a bit foolish not to go there. But Australia are turning right here, and why they're doing that, because they're just trying to at least have clear wind. They're trying to have their own breeze, won't be being affected by the other boats, and then they can get going fast. But you can see no one is going faster than the black foils.
Yeah, they've managed to extend a nice lead there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them turn left at the bottom. It seems to be the way to go. We've not really seen many boats turn right at this bottom gate, and I think it just means they can do one less manoeuvre when they're sailing up to that gate 3, gate 5.
And here they are at the DP World Gate. This is the New Zealand Black Foils. They won the first event of season 5. That was in Dubai. You look at their driver, Peter Burling, a 3-time Olympic medalist, 3-time America's Cup champion. He's got the team, Stevie. I mean, it's just an all-star cast. And I guess a lot of people are wondering why they aren't winning more. They're consistently at the top of the board, but they're not winning regattas.
Not yet, no. And they were dominating last season. I mean, you could make a case to say last season they came out of the blocks.
Yeah.
And they were the best, and then they struggled to hold on. Maybe there can be a strategy trying to build momentum over the season. I don't think so. I think they've had a bit of a challenge integrating Leo Takahashi. Don't underestimate how good Andy Maloney is. Not necessarily a slight on Leo, but he's, Andy was the man, and so I think there's been a bit of learning in there. But Pete and Blair, I mean, it's like Lennon and McCartney or something like that. It's one of those iconic duos in the sailing world, and they just got absolutely telepathic sailing together.
How about this battle right now? But this is for positions 5 and 6, and it's the Bonds Flying Ruse and Tom Slingsby to get the inside of Rockwool, Denmark, so they will hold on to 5th place. Denmark drops to 6th, and then Red Bull Italy comes into 7th, with US SailGP back in there in 8th.
A nice round in there by the Ruse. They did a good job to hold the inside. They've got to keep clear of Rockwool, Denmark. They've got to be watching here, but they had Jason Waterhouse down there. He had his eyes focused in on them, and now they turn, and they're throwing disturbed air, blocked wind onto that Rockwool, Denmark boat, and the Danish are going to struggle to be very fast across this bit of the leg.
So up one more time, then back down, and then it's the left of the finish line. Hannah Diamond, I'll ask you, because you've been on these boats before, when you go from 6 people on board to 5 people on board, how critical is that, especially when you get in tight quarters like this?
Well, it kind of depends who you choose to take off, because it's up to the teams who they decide to kick off the boat, really. So you can see most of the sailors, most of the teams have got their strategists moving forward to help with the grinding. It's super physical, even when the wind's not really strong, just to be able to trim that wing sheet and allow the boat to be going as fast as possible all the time.
They spin the boat one more time. That is the Black Foils. They are the leaders right now. Let's remind you that New Zealand finished in 2nd place in race number 1. They finished in 4th in race number 2. So, Stevie, like they do, they are consistently near the top.
Yeah, really good. I mean, Emirates Great Britain, they're the boat today. They've sailed up to 4th here, but you saw that manoeuvre by the Kiwis. And the platform, I think when you're looking at the boats, how do you judge if they're sailing well or not? How smooth and steady and stable does the platform look? And that was just rock solid. But again, once you're out in front, it's so much easier to predict the power you're going to have in the boat. You're making decisions when you want to make decisions. The tempo's calmer, everything like that. As soon as you're in the fight in the middle, you're just being dictated to.
Sebastian Snyder, the winner of the last race, and the Swiss, he is holding on to 2nd place right now. And Diego Botin's going to
He's allowed in there. He's allowed in there. He will be asking a question, I can assure you of that. Spain will say we had to delay our turn to avoid Switzerland. Switzerland will say we gave enough space. The only opinion that matters will be Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell, so we'll find out very soon once they make that decision.
Boy, it looked like Spain was thinking about splitting the course and going to the other side, and then they got inside that yellow circle first. So to Stevie's point, they had priority.
They did, but I've just heard from Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell that actually the Spanish were trying to do a little bit of a Hollywood. They tried to milk it. They had plenty of room to do that, and they might have cost themselves a space. Emirates Great Britain is absolutely flying around the course today. Dylan Fletcher, without doubt, is enjoying home turf. Maybe got his Weetabix in him this morning.
No one is catching the Black Foils on this race, as the Kiwis are out in front and staying out in front. Their lead more than 300 meters. There they see the finish line, so it'll be one more left-hand turn, and the win will be theirs.
Huge. This could be Emirates Great Britain and New Zealand are going to be a long, long way gone in terms of the fleet. Switzerland are going to be looking in good shape at this point, but of course there's still a lot of golf left in this event. There's plenty more to be done, but the Kiwis are going to enjoy this.
Race number 3 in the English Channel goes the way of the Kiwis as the Black Foils take the win here in Portsmouth. So that is your Emirates winning moment, and there's plenty of time to take a deep breath and start the debrief if you're a Kiwi, Stevie, because their lead is massive, and it looks like Sebastian Schneider, who we spoke with moments ago, they will hold on for a second. So a great run for the Swiss if they can bring this one home and take that second. Not too shabby for the hometown team. Emirates GBR, Dylan Fletcher, remember, started today off with a big win, and he's going to back it up with race number 3 with a third.
You know what, I think they'll be the happiest with this one, because they were not good at Mark 1, and if you're in the pack, that's where you can easily get stuck. The fact they've managed to overtake 4 boats just from good manoeuvres, sailing quite clean around the course, you know, I think they'll be really, really happy with this race, funny enough.
Diego Botín, the defending champions, Spain, the winners of the last 2 events, they will finish in 4th place. And then you got the Bonds Flying Ruse. Somehow Tom Slingsby always manages a way to salvage a race, even if for him, his standards, usually a top 3, but he'll take a 5 and he'll take those points and get the team safely home. And they've got 1 more race to go. Good showing today all around for Red Bull Italy and Ruggero Tita, Stevie. They have showed some great promise out there. When they've had leads, they've been able to hold on to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the conditions have been pretty good. I think Andrea Tessi, the flight controller, I mean, you know, he's been given the toughest job to take on the boat, I think, really, certainly in terms of learning a new role on the boat. And I guess he's been pretty open about that, but he's clearly getting better, as we'd expect. He's a world-class athlete. But I think this event could be showing him really starting to perform. And we're just starting to see the odd signs of some slightly disgruntled faces body language-wise, I think. For some of the teams are already thinking, hang on a minute, we've had 2 bad ones here. We're going to need to start rolling the dice very soon.
Yeah, Rockwell, Denmark, inconsistent on that race. And you have Mabudla, Brazil. Then you've got the Germany Deutsche Bank coming in 9th. And the Americans, despite looking like they were going to improve after races 1 and 2, they dropped back for a 10th. So the points will be at a premium for the Americans and the Stars and Stripes as they finish in 10th. It's only North Star Canada that finished behind them.
Doing this next one.
And now we're less than 80 seconds away from the start of the 4th and final race. Remember, 3 more fleet races tomorrow on Super Sunday before the event final. With 1:10 to go, we'll see what everyone decides to do. Hannah, you wonder how much they've learned after 3 races, where they want to be at what point, because it sounds like from everyone we've talked to, if you can get a good start, you give yourself a real chance of taking the win.
Yeah, and we've seen that left turn is really strong, so making your first maneuver early out of Mark 1 so you can do that left turn. But just because you know that that's the right strategy doesn't mean it's any easier to execute.
Knowing what to do, Stevie, and being able to do it are 2 different things, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's almost even harder when it's that obvious, because everyone's trying to be in the same spot, and, you know, every person on these boats will know that's the place to be. It's not that you and I and Hannah are rocket scientists up here, Todd. They'll have all worked it out, and we can see once again the pole predictors at the bottom corner there on the downwind end of the start line. But that, again, I just think the difference here is it's such a short run to Mark 1. You haven't got the time to use the extra speed you'd had if you were up the line. Spain well positioned, New Zealand well positioned at the moment here. The Ruse, well, they've got some space, and Slingsby is going to be able to wind it up from here if he can keep his timing right. They look a little late on board Canada. North Star Canada having a shocker today. Here we go, look at that line to turn white. Slingsby's going to swing it down here. All about acceleration. Watch for the go. Perfect from the Ruse, and Slingsby, when he needs to pull a rabbit from a hat, he's done it, because they need a good race here, and the Ruse are going to lead at Mark 1.
Okay, let's stand by there.
So as they approach mark number 1, it is the Bonds Flying Ruse of Australia and Tom Slingsby, the winners of the 2nd event of the season, New Zealand. They are off and running.
Oh, and the Spanish have learnt their lesson. They've spun it inside their Botín. He's given himself a chance. He must keep clear of Australia until he gets in the yellow circle, which is off the side of our screen at the moment. Slingsby will be aggressive here. He's going to try and push the Spanish off.
Yep, coming up. Coming down hard.
Going to try and force the Spanish off the course here.
Look at this.
He needs to not be overlapped. Brilliant by Slingsby. Absolutely textbook, and he's made it so hard for the Spanish. They're going to be slow out of gate 2.
Angle. Hey, adding rather soft turn, Tommy. Up it.
Spain, it's going to get hard for Spain here, because Emirates Great Britain will go around the outside. Emirates Great Britain will then have the right of way over the Spanish as well, and he could force the Spanish off the foils. They have Fletcher on fire.
So the ripple effect of aggressive driving from Tom Slingsby is felt in the rest of the fleet, with Dylan Fletcher, Emirates GBR, Ruggero Tito, and Diego Botín, most importantly. And now it is Tom Slingsby. We've heard all the drivers talk about this, Hannah. If you can get out in front, stay clean, you've got so many other options.
Yeah, and we saw in some of the other races, some of the teams are happy to bank a second or a third. Tom Slingsby is never happy with that. He will always go for the win if he's got that option.
Look at that, New Zealand, the black foils. They fell off the foils in their first manoeuvre there. Very, very costly for them. They could bring themselves back into the hunt as Mubadala Brazil, top right-hand corner of our screen. They've got some space. Martin's looking to pull a bit of a move here. They're going fast on board Mubadala Brazil, but how are they going to come back when they meet the fleet?
Currently sitting in second place is Mubadala Brazil and Grail.
Look at Spain, Todd. Sorry to interrupt. They're back to 8th, and they were second. And I want interesting question, right? Spain last year was sort of one of the nobody teams. They ended up winning the championship. They've then been on fire the last couple of events. Does that suddenly put a target on your back? And Slingsby says, I'm the big man. I'm taking you down. I'm going to shoot you.
Craig Mitchell, the chief umpire, issuing a penalty to Brazil. They sailed too far out on that boundary, the top of the screen, so they will have to drop back. And they will go from second to fourth. Meanwhile, it looks like the breeze is dropping just a little bit. We check in down in the water with Lisa Darmanin. Lisa, how's it looking to you, and how do you like the crew's chance of where they are right now?
I think if you're out in front, it's pretty nice out here. I mean, today it's just getting a little bit patchier. So what I mean by that is that the higher breeze is higher and the lower breeze is lower. So a lot of cloud coming around, it's changing the day, but I think it's pretty clear what's working on the course. And you know, it's very close out here, very tight, but Australians are looking really strong.
Was it just me, Steve, or did she have a little extra pep in her voice there with the Australians out in front?
Well, we don't like to accuse Lisa Darmanin of being biased towards that Australian team. We wouldn't want to, wouldn't get ourselves accused of that, Todd. But yeah, I mean, I think she'll, of course, be happy. A lot of her friends on board that boat. But I think it's still really interesting here because Australia do need a good result. They've got to watch out for the Italians. Italy are entitled to dive inside. Wouldn't be surprised, yeah, they're going to go straight. Keep it simple on board Italy. I think at their stage of the development, that was a very smart move. Stay fast, don't risk the extra manoeuvre. But New Zealand are still out the back.
So my question on that maneuver would be, with Red Bull Italy coming in that fast, are they hearing from Race HQ and Jimmy Spithill and their coaches, telling them go straight, don't mess around with Australia, or that's a decision that they leave up to Ruggiero Tita?
Well, I think all the teams have got a slightly different plan with that, but you know, some of these decisions are coming so quickly. Generally, the coaches are helping, and some of the CEOs as well, with some of the bigger picture strategy rather than that off-the-cuff thinking.
Yeah, here we go. We've got that race to the final at the moment. And this is a massive race for Australia and New Zealand. Yeah. New Zealand look home and dry for the final. I know it was a bit early to say that. And Australia struggling, but you get a good race win. And New Zealand back in 11th. They're last of all the boats that are still currently racing. And you can see Australia scrape into the final as it stands. Long way to go, but one thing that is a fact is that British boat are loving it on home water.
Right now we've got one more race result to add to that tally, and then we've got 3 more fleet races tomorrow. For those of you wondering what's going on with France, they had an incident before the start of racing today where they broke their wing, and so it looks like they will not be able to race this weekend. Now, Stevie, there's a potential for them to do some miracle shore work overnight, but that was pretty extensive damage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speculate on that. I mean, you know, it's they've obviously... We'll review it, try and work out what's gone wrong. That's the most important thing, and then hopefully we've got some spares, but I don't know that at all. As we see here, that the Australians have done a brilliant job on this downwind. They've extended away, and Ruggiero Tita on board Italy, they're doing a good job as well. It's going to really make tomorrow's racing so interesting.
Dylan Fletcher coming in second, Emirates GBR. They've had a great day today. They won the first race of the day. They finished second in race number 2, dropped back to 3rd in race 3. So I think if you talk to any of the sailors, Hannah, they would all say, yeah, the first 3 races, I'd take a 1st, 2nd, and a 3rd. No question about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We talk about consistency all day long, and it's so important. I think it's going to be hard for them here. They're going to tack on the boundary. It's going to be quite a hard lane behind the Bonds Flying Ruse. They're going to have to work pretty hard to keep the boat fast along this long leg.
See, if you get that view right there and you look along there, how far can the disturbed air go? I mean, who's feeling it? Is Italy feeling it? Is Brazil feeling it off the ruse?
Italy will be feeling it off the ruse. I think that the British will probably just about be clear, but they're quite limited in the angles they can sail from here. They might want to sort of turn a little away from the wind to accelerate, but if they did, they'd sail into the disturbed wind. I think we were talking about the coaches. One of the really interesting things, the Spanish have developed a bit of software that predicts where the disturbed air from all of the boats is. So then they can map a route around the race course. Now, of course, it doesn't always work, because they're currently coming 10th. But it's been really a feature of their racing, so that understanding where that disturbed wind, where effectively there is less wind on the race course because of the other boats, it is predictable, and it's really a big feature.
There you see the Rolex chase time right now between first and second. That's the Bonds Flying Ruse out in front, with Emirates GBR trying to track them down. I don't know if Dylan Fletcher, Hannah, is that concerned right now with the Bonds Flying Ruse because of the results they've had so far. You look at Australia, they start off with a 7th place on race number 1, a 5th on race 2, and they bounce back with another 5 on race 3. So they need the points way more than Dylan Fletcher does. I got to think he's going to keep this thing clean and simple and take a top 3.
Yeah, that's right. And don't underestimate how hard the boat is to sail when you've got someone in front of you, and also trying to keep to the right-hand side underneath the screen of Spitbank 4. Requires so much concentration just to keep the boat going fast.
And just 5 people on board. Normally it is 6.
Wasn't it, by the Australians? And it just shows when you're out in front, because we can see the boats in the pack. There is just less wind as all the boats move up the course. The whole bit downwind of the fleet towards the fans, there will be less clear wind and just less potential horsepower out there on the water. And well, look at that, Slingsby. He's looked pretty average all day, hasn't he? Give him a sniff of a lead, and they look like the world-class outfit that they are.
And this will shake up the leaderboard, no question about it.
Watch out for Swift coming.
Oh, he was hunting at Emirates Great Britain there. He had the right of way. I think that was pretty clean, but Slingsby certainly made Fletcher know he's still around.
Copy. Turn away in 3, 2, 1. Turn away.
Opting for one less manoeuvre there with that right turn and forcing Red Bull Italy into another tack before they take that left turn.
Mubadala Brazil and Martini Grail having a great race. They currently sitting 4th as they tuck in behind Red Bull Italy. And Germany Deutsche Bank having their best showing so far as they will come in 5th.
It's a pretty huge race this really, because Spain and New Zealand 10th and 11th. I mean, we don't often see that, do we? And they're struggling to get back through the fleet. Portsmouth Emirates fouled Australia, so that was on the upwind leg, so it'll be a very, very minimum penalty because it's an overtake one and Australia are already well ahead. So that's just a little mark on the scorecard for Dylan Fletcher rather than any real effect to this race for him.
Just to let them know that Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell watches everything.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to annoy Tom Slingsby.
No, not at all. So here we go. This is leg 6 of 7, the final race of the day. Of course, we have 3 more tomorrow as you get a look at the Emirates Umpire Studio. Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell there on the right-hand bottom corner of your side. But right now, everyone is looking at the Bonds Flying Ruse because they have a massive lead as they will bring it in here and they will make that left-hand turn, and then it is off to Hallelujah Land as they see the finish line, and they will get a nice warm welcome by the near 30,000 fans that have turned out here in Portsmouth.
Nice moment for Chris Draper as well. We saw his daughter Lily up in the crowd, so we know his family's all up there. Chris, of course, comes from near Southampton, so local sailor as well as the wing trimmer on board the Bonds Flying Ruse.
So the fans can get on their feet and tip their hat. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Bonds Flying Ruse and their driver, Thomas David Slingsby.
Going forward down.
That's some good research you got yourself in there, Todd. David, there you go. I did not know that. Emirates Great Britain are coming through there. Brilliant day for them. In front of the home fans, they've really rose to the occasion, that is for sure. Ruggero Tita on board the Italian boat as well. Good day for them. Big, big day for this Italian team. They need a good event, and they're getting it.
Really good day.
Really great day right there. Look at the number of Union Jacks that are out as they bring it across, much to the delight of the fans. It turned out on a picture-perfect day here on day number 1. It is Dylan Fletcher and company. They cross the line.
Look at that crowd. I mean, it's just awesome, isn't it?
Nice ride, Nico.
Red Bull Italy, they will cross the line in a top 3 position. Germany Deutsche Bank will finish in 4th. And Mubadala Brazil and Martini Grail, they will finish in top 5. Remember, they got a win in New York City in race number 4 a few weeks back. So they are still trying to build and put that team together, but they've got a lot of talent. And then Sebastian Snyder, winners of the last race, they dropped back to 6th place.
Canada and the United States are going at it. The United States have got to give Canada room here. Giles is pushing it wide. He's going to be slow. Both of them are going to be off the foils. As soon as they get round the mark, the North Star Canada have got to keep clear. And we've seen that Taylor Canfield is not one to be gentle in these situations. These 2 boats are going to be parked. So for all the boats behind them, opportunity knocks. The Americans need to time this right to re-accelerate.
Good opportunity now for Rockwool, Denmark, and Spain to maybe pick up another position as the U.S. and the Canadians are locked together, and look at this. Rockwell, Denmark's going to go right on by.
Oh, that was a big one by the United States. That was just overly aggressive. He could have slowed the Canadians and still held that position. That's a big mistake there. Good news for Rockwell, Denmark. But Spain and New Zealand in this race, wow, what effect is it going to have on their event?
So Canada drops back to position behind the Americans. Spain finished in a shocking 10th, and who would have thought this? The winners of the last race, the Blackfoils, New Zealand, Stevie, they come in dead last.
If you're not first, you're last. That is for sure not a good result for the Kiwis, but they'll still come back fighting tomorrow. They're right in the match.
And there are the teams, all 12 of them ready to go racing as Team France is back on the water, and that's the best news we've heard all day, Hannah. They look very sharp. We'll see what they can do today. Yeah,
they'll be really excited to get back racing, that's for sure. And we've got some epic conditions for racing today.
And a big hurry to get in that start box, Stevie. Okay, this is where the dance begins. We've had a chatter about this. Now you see where the preferred line is. It's more in the middle of the box. Why has that changed from yesterday?
Well, I think they're just trying to even things out a little bit, but it's a very short run to Mark 1. That's off the right-hand side of our screen. And basically, if you're stuck too far up the line, you're going to end up on the outside of the turn. So this start will be crucial. USA seem to have stopped with a bit of a problem here. Not sure what's happened to them. Bit of a disaster before the first race of the day here, but it's tight in the pack. Germany, they're going the wrong way at the moment, a little out of control. It's absolute, it's like Piccadilly Circus at the moment in that start line. The Bonds Flying Rouge are well positioned towards the bottom of the line, but they're going to have to keep clear of France. It's all lining up for a tight blanket start here. The Swiss at the bottom are going to try and find in top of the line. Rolex pole predictor sits on board Mubadala Brazil, but New Zealand have total control of them. It's all about acceleration now. Look for the Blackfoils to wind it up. North Star Canada well positioned now. Looking for the line to turn right. Who's got it right? Perfect from North Star Canada out the middle, and they're going to be able to drop the hammer from here. Giles Scott's going to wind it up and send it towards Mark 1, and there go the Blackfoils on the charge.
No need for elbows out for the Canadians as they hit mark number 1 in first place. They get the whole shot. The Kiwis sit in second place. Germany Deutsche Bank in third, and on the inside, it's Emirates GBR who control that position.
And they've slightly squared the course up a bit here, Todd. You can carry on after Mark 1 a bit. Look at this. Bonds Flying Rouge in last place at Mark 1 of those boats currently racing. Emirates Great Britain, another good race. Spain, current championship leaders, are in the middle of the pack. It's going to be an absolute scrap, and expect some carnage at gate 2.
2, 1, work it up.
And if there wasn't already enough traffic furniture out there with the channel markers, Hannah Diamond, the U.S. now sitting right in the middle, so you have to avoid them as well, as they are dead in the water.
Yeah, that's right. Really an ideal start for the US SailGP team here, but North Star Canada came really cleanly out of that mark. Looks like that left-hand side is favoured again for this gate 2.
They need to try and, tidy their game up, North Star Canada. They had a very tough day yesterday, but once they're out in front, this is their first chance in the lead, so probably their first real test of how the boat speed is today. They'll get to see, are they quick, are they not? But top of our screen, it's Spain that have turned right. Lisa, the course yesterday was pretty favoured for a left-hand turn. How are you feeling about the right-hand turn for Spain this time?
I still think that the left-hand turn will be favoured, so that means they're gaining just a couple of 100 metres by rounding that mark. The course is probably a little bit more even than yesterday wind-wise, but Canada's looking pretty strong right now.
Canada needs a big performance today. If you look at their report card from yesterday, race number 1, they got 6th. The second race, they got 8th, and then they really dropped down to an 11th and then a 9th. So they are desperate need of points.
I heard a little word from Giles Scott there talking about a tidal gain. Of course, one of the unique features of the Solent is there is a lot of current, a lot of tide out there, and that is affecting the course. So you can effectively minimise the amount of treadmill you're having to sail against by putting yourself in a favourable position on the current.
We can see a much more open course than yesterday. You can see the boats going all the way to the top of the screen there before they start their way back, where they pick their next gate mark and choose their way around gate 3.
Tight move in front by Canada there. I'm surprised they didn't go a little bit further. They've kind of opened the door for the Blackfoils. I think they could have manoeuvred a bit more directly in front. I anticipate a lead change here. This could well be the Blackfoils leading up at gate 3. That's not good news for the Canadians, because they were in a real controlling position before that.
So New Zealand almost pulling dead even. They are actually in first place right now ahead of the Canadians, and they need a big day as well. And as you look at what they did in the second half of yesterday's 4 races, the Kiwis won race 5, but then they followed up in race 4 with dead last.
Yeah, here we go. New Zealand got to keep clear of Canada here. They will be looking to turn right in front. I think the Black Fool's slow to react there. They've opened the door for the Canadians. Oh, but they've timed it well. Burling, I shouldn't have questioned that. Perfect from the Black Foil. Slam dunk on top of the Canadian boat as they round gate 3.
North Star Canada will follow the Black Foils in second place, and it's Spain currently in third. And here we go. It gets a little tight. This was the same story yesterday, Hannah. Very tight at this part of the course.
There were 2 green circles there, but it's actually the Swiss that need to keep clear in that situation. Windward boat must keep clear. What a great sight. Here come the French. Nice to see them back on the water. Delapierre's kind of conditions. Expect the French to wind it up. They'll be full send on board that French boat from here.
We can get one and in.
Yeah, let's just stay, you stay there, Parker, if you're okay.
So Luke Parkinson is on the right-hand side of the screen here. He's actually flying the boat from the wrong side, Hannah.
Yeah, and you know, some of the teams would prefer to do that if they know that they've got manoeuvre coming up. Just stops that unsettling of the boat while the flight controller crosses.
There is the front of the fleet right now. This is race number 5. We've got 2 more fleet races, and of course, the event final coming up, only the top 3 teams.
Look at these points, Todd. If it stays like this in that race to the
this is the umpires.
Switzerland.
Penalty Switzerland, not giving room at the boundary, go behind France.
Ooh,
that's going to cost.
Switzerland, you've got to avoid the mistakes out there today. We saw that meeting, didn't we? They've called in a bit of time with Roger Federer, you know, and that's a bit like hitting an unforced error on a tennis court there. You could have seen that coming a little bit early. He will have learnt a lot from talking to Roger Federer, but Roger Federer did not make the simple mistakes.
And it is the Kiwis, the Black Foils, that reach the DP World Gate there. They make the turn. North Star Canada, Giles Scott right behind them. So there you have 2 Olympic gold medalists going head-to-head right now. Stevie, Spain bring another Olympic gold medalist into the picture. So there's medals all over this course.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of talent out there on this race course. Look how tight we are in the pack. The Bonds Flying Roos are right back in the game here. What is Slingsby going to be able to conjure up? He looks like he's going to manage to magic up a right turn, but no, the Swiss shut the door. It's getting very, very busy at that bottom turn. Bonds Flying Roos are on a charge, and that battle between Australia and Switzerland, wow, the Swiss have just got themselves right back into the fight with that mistake they made on the downwind. Hugely costly downwind for the Swiss team. That's so disappointing for them. And Harry Houdini, Tom Slingsby himself on the Bonds Flying Roos, well, he might have got himself out of a bit of a sticky position with that first lap.
Moved up to 6th place at the Bonds Flying Roos, so Australia just behind Germany. Germany, Deutsche Bank in 5th. Emirates GBR, the big winners of yesterday, they sit in 4th place overall.
Another arm wrestle upwind here for these leading boats. As soon as you're in the first 3, so we've got Canada, New Zealand towards the top right-hand corner of our screen, Spain at the bottom here. It's a real test of your speed. You've got clear air, you can make your own decisions, so it all comes down to how well are those individual sailors using the equipment to go fast. They're going to look to tack on the boundary. New Zealand will tack Simo with them, and it's a gain for Canada at this point, but New Zealand should... Oh, there's the noise on board Canada. They're off the foils. Mistake in the tack there. Oh, that was a huge error turning the boat through the wind on board Canada. They're going to lose a lot of distance.
And the Canadians quickly get back up on the foils. Hannah Diamond, is that a situation where the pressure that the Black Foils apply to them just had them not focusing on that maneuver when they should have been?
Well, it shouldn't really have been, because North Star Canada was sort of in control leading into that boundary. They knew they needed the protection of the 3 boat length zone running up to that boundary so they could do that tack. So they should really have been in control, but not easy conditions today.
No, I think it's quite choppy, Todd. So, you know, yesterday they were kind of driving along a nice smooth motorway, or a freeway as you'd call it, over in the United States, whereas we're on a bit of an English country road out there at the moment. A little bit bumpy, a little bit choppy, harder to keep the boats balanced nicely. So those manoeuvres are a lot harder to stick, and we see here New Zealand choosing to do one less manoeuvre. They're going to just turn right, and they're going to stretch away. This is a great start to the day for the Black Foils.
I'm going to go right to the source. We check in down on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, how choppy is it down there, and is it expected to stay like this throughout the whole day?
So it was a lot choppier early in the day, and it's slowly flattening out. So, you know, I'm surprised that Canada's making those errors. It's nothing that they haven't seen before. It is meant to get flatter, so they should be able to send it. And it is quite gusty out here too, so that might be impacting, you know, the pressure on the foils as well.
I think those people new to SailGP that are watching for one of the first times, when she says it's gusty, that means there's areas of the course where there's more wind. And of course, if you can find more wind, it's like just putting more horsepower in your car. You're going to go a lot faster. So get the more wind, get the gains.
New Zealand look to be on their way to their second win in 5 races. Remember, they won on day number 1 in race number 3, but they followed that up in race number 4 with an unprecedented 11th, dead last because France wasn't racing yesterday. Similar situation today as the USA SailGP team has got some technical issues, unable to get to the start block for race number 1. So we've got 11 teams out there racing for points, but it is New Zealand in control. And look at this, somehow Canada has found one of those gusts, Stevie. They are closing the gap and quick.
Yeah, and it's all about can Canada make it to this final turning mark with no more manoeuvres. The fact that the Black Foils have gone that far suggests to me that Canada and Great Britain will have to do 2 more manoeuvres before the final turning mark. So it could actually open the door for the Spanish here. But let's see, yeah, the ball goes down on board Canada.
Yep.
They have to set up to manoeuvre, and actually the Bond's flying roofs. Look at them go on board that Australian boat. They were last at gate 2 and they're all the way up to gate 4. Pure boat speed from the Australians as the Black Foils are going to bring it home.
They anticipate the final maneuver and they limit the number of maneuvers, and that's exactly what Pete Burling and the Black Foils have done here in race number 5 on Super Sunday, race number 1. The Emirates Woody moment goes the way of the Black Foils and the Kiwis. They strike first on Sunday.
There you go, that's one for the fans there. The fans are going to be no doubt happy seeing Burling and co bring it across the line in first place. But Emirates Great Britain, another top 3. North Star Canada all the way up to second. It's a good result for them after a tough first day for Giles Scott.
And for Emirates GBR, Stevie, this is still a win. A top 3 position. They already have such a big lead.
It's all about getting to final. It's absolutely awesome. The win, as you heard Chris Draper say, that's a really good hustle, guys. Unbelievable hustle. Yep. Yesterday we saw how hard it is to... There you go. They're going to be seriously happy on that boat. Halfway down leg 4, as they came downwind, Switzerland were 10 points
This is the
ahead of them in the race
umpires.
to the
Penalty
final.
Germany, didn't give Mark room, go behind Denmark. 5 seconds to be added to your time.
So Germany now goes to
Behind
7th,
Denmark.
and Denmark will get 6th.
Yeah, look at this. Italy missed the mark. They've been forced wide. They're having to do an extra manoeuvre. All 3 boats off the foils. These are foiling F50s here. So they've all misjudged their rounding. Italy.
Oh, this is going to be a touch.
Oh, Martini needs to not cause a collision and just press the protest button. Now they go. Goodison calls for them to push up. Italy must keep clear here. And the Swiss, well, this could be absolute reprieve for the Swiss here. They've made a real mess of the middle of that race, but there's a parking lot at the final turn.
Helipuff in 2, 1 helipuff now.
And the Swiss will come through as those 3 teams in the back just got stuck. Everyone came off the foils. So France, Mubadala Brazil, and Red Bull Italy drop into the water.
Umpires. Penalty Italy, go behind. Penalty Italy, go behind Brazil. Penalty clear.
Perfect. There you go. I mean, it got really tight at the bottom. It's a very hard 2 manoeuvres they had to do into there. And if you got a little wide or there were boats in your way, it was easy to miss things on the course there. So it's tough out there, isn't it, Hannah? It's not very easy sailing these boats in these conditions.
No, not easy at all. And, you know, the French were up there beginning of the race, didn't quite manage to see what happened to them. It dropped right back to the back of the fleet. They'll be disappointed.
So now the teams begin to dance all over again. Race 6 abandoned the first go-around. We'll try it one more time here. And the course is clear. 1 minute to go. Emirates GBR a little late to get back in there, and we still don't have an update on what's going on with Team USA, the SailGP team, really struggling to get their boat to the water. So it's now 11 boats out of the water as Dylan Fletcher and his team come screaming into the start box.
Yeah, different approach here. They're going to wind it up with a loop down. This won't be plan A, I would imagine, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad thing. They're going to have an option for space, and they should be able to make things happen for them quite well here. It's going to be a tight turn in, and they're going to have that fast angle into Mark 1. They will be high in the box, as Ian Jensen says there. Bottom of the line, as we look down here, it's towards the right-hand side of our screen. We can see a penalty on board New Zealand. They're going to have to get back behind a lot of the boats in the fleet here. Could be a big problem for the Black Foils.
Penalty New Zealand relative Spain.
Okay, so they've got to get back behind Spain here. Big mistake by them. Rolex pole position is on Rockwall, Denmark, and they've got a nice gap in the middle of the line. Looking for that line to turn white here.
Come down, big time.
Oh, Brazil were early. That's going to be a penalty. The Swiss have got a great start, and Italy have got a great start, but Switzerland are going to need to go very, very fast to get around the outside
early start
here.
penalty Brazil. Delayed starters New Zealand and Germany.
Oh, Oh, the Swiss have done it. Schneider, wow, absolutely nailed that so fast to get over the top. He's in second, and well, the French are back with a bang.
Brazil, your penalties to go behind all boats.
Oh, Craig Mitchell dealing out a tough card for the Brazilians.
Yeah, if you start ahead, I think you deserve to go back behind everyone, to be perfectly honest. That line's a fixed point in space, and they were ahead of it. Now the black foils are in the right-hand side of our screen with work to do, and the French, well, they're gone, but they choose a right turn. Big call by the French here. Every other race this event, we've seen people take a left turn. Italy are going to lead out of the left turn, and it's really tight in the middle. Rockwell, Denmark with a little flip-flop jibe happening there. Had to avoid Emirates Great Britain. Dylan Fletcher once again has got himself back in the race, and North Star Canada off the foils as well.
Good luck to here.
Looked like the Canadians, Stevie, had to take evasive action there as they put the nose into the water, and it's Red Bull Italy sitting in second place. Quentin de la Pierre, the French, top of your screen, they're in first.
Yeah, big winners here. New Zealand, the black foils were a little high on the foils there. Another mistake by the black foils, but they're right back in this after being out the back at the start. Lisa, what are you seeing that made the French want to turn right at the bottom there?
I think what the French are doing, I mean, generally where the left turn is, whilst it's been favoured, there's been less pressure. But where the French are right now, they're setting themselves up to come to the favoured side of the top of the course.
This is the umpire.
What that means is they're finding more wind, and then they'll be able to do a left turn at the top gate.
Okay, so they're really planning out their race.
This is the umpires. Penalty Australia, relative Canada, not giving room at the obstruction.
Wow.
Chief umpire Craig Mitchell, a busy man today.
Oh my Lord, Australia relative Canada. That's unbelievable.
Here it is.
Here we go. So Canada right of way boat. Oh my days. Whoa, look at that, unbelievable. They did so well to avoid a collision there. And the Australians were on the inside of that. See them top right of our shot there, they were way out of that. Huge penalty for the Rouge. They've got to go all the way back behind Canada. That's massive, absolutely massive. They've got to drop so far back here to take that penalty, but it's destroyed North Star Canada's race there. As Australia, it's almost a leap up in protest. They're going to need to basically park the boat to wait for the Canadians. Canadians top left of screen still not foiling, but out in front, Todd, the French, well, they are flying away from the fleet here, and this just really opens the door for the Swiss in second in that race to the final versus Australia. Let's remember, it's all about making the top 3 places, and Switzerland, well, they're going to have a big points buffer over the Aussies after this.
How about this? The Bonds Flying Rouge are going to go from 5th to 11th place on this one leg because of that penalty. Meanwhile, Quentin de la Pierre and the French back today after not being able to race yesterday. He's sitting first place, the Swiss in second. They've dropped back, and now it is Red Bull Italy up to third with Rockwell Denmark in 5th, just behind Emirates GBR.
Yeah, another dominant race here, Emirates GBR, really, but the French, it's nice to see for the French really showing us what they can do out there on the water after that first day.
And Red Bull Italy have been sailing really well as well. They're a couple of thirds yesterday, and to be up there in this race again in the breezier conditions, really showing their rate of improvement.
It's good, isn't it? It'll be interesting when we get a chance. We'll see, hopefully, the points going up there. Here we go. Well done. Perfect. Race to the final, and look at that. New Zealand are in, but they're behind Switzerland. A big gap on New Zealand to Australia, though. For the Swiss, that is absolutely huge, as we see a massive incident for the Spanish. Got really high off the foils here. I think maybe... Oh, look at that, all the fairings have gone. They absolutely dumped the boat down into the water. We're going to have to go back and see what's happened. I don't know if they've caught the mark or what's happened here, but a lot of the fairings have come off that, so a big nosedive on that Spanish boat, and their chances of the final are evaporating almost quicker than the Bonds Flying Rouge right now.
And the Australians still have to drop back more. They've got to get behind Canada, who is so slow. Meanwhile, the race goes on as we approach the DP World Gate. And once again, Quentin de la Pierre opting to go to the right-hand side.
Yeah, he's just trying to simplify it down. By going right, you can then do 1-2 manoeuvres on the upwind leg, whereas if you go left, you've got to do 1-2-3. Every time you manoeuvre the boat, unless it's for an obvious gain to get more boat speed, then you just are going a little bit slower. You are losing distance. So yeah, simplifying the course on board the French there, but the Italians, well, Rigittita's catching them up pretty quick.
Boy, we talk about Tom Slingsby having to pull a rabbit out of his hat. He's going to have his work cut out for him on race number 7 as they are losing massive points. Right now, they are outside of the top 3, so they would not be in the event final if it was after this race, but he's got one more opportunity to pick up some valuable points. Meanwhile, it is France out in front. How about Red Bull Italy and Roger Tita, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist? He is doing a fantastic job, Hannah. You talked about it. They are really showing some good stuff, not only yesterday, but today.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen hints of it over the last couple of events, haven't we? But they're yet to put together a full event. You can see from this shot that there's some different colors of the water. Those darker patches mean a lot more wind. They seem to be becoming a bit more pronounced, and that's maybe making the boats a little bit harder to sail, which is why we're seeing these crashes off the foils. And the teams that can stay calm, keep their boat handling simple, are going to be able to benefit from that.
There's still no sign of the Spanish coming down when we obviously saw them at the top end of the course there, and hopefully we'll get a chance to go back. Here we go. We're going to have a little replay here. We're on board Spain, and let's watch here. They get the boat really low in the water, and they're going to turn away from the wind right now. And then look at that. They really put the bow down so hard, and they just come to an absolute stop. They're really struggling here, high in the water, and then look at that. A lot of air around the foils, and they come down with a serious bump. That's massive there for the Spanish. They just park, boat fills up with water, and potentially with the load of that crash, they've damaged the boat. There they are, top right-hand side of screen, and I could only assume they've maybe damaged more than just the fairings. As we come back now, we see the Swiss in third, but they've opened the door for the Rockwell, Denmark and New Zealand. The Swiss really need all the points they can get in their battle with the Bonds Flying Rouge to get to the final.
And Australia already working their way back up the leaderboard. They are up to 7th place right now, as Rockwell, Denmark, and Switzerland will swap positions. The Danes now going to 3rd with the Swiss in 4th. So look at this ever-changing situation with the race to the final. Now Australia's on 36 points. That puts them 5 points behind the Swiss.
Swiss are going to lose a couple of places here, Todd, I think. They've got themselves a little bit out of phase with the wind shift, and they've now got to watch out. Rockwell, Denmark, and Switzerland. Tight cross. Switzerland need to be sure they're ahead. Oh, Schneider, good call. And I tell you what, having watched that Racing on the Edge episode, if the Swiss do make the final, I think everyone's going to want a business meeting with Roger Federer.
Leg 6 of 7, so it's down to the bottom of the course and a left-hand turn to the finish line with just one more race to go until the field is cut to only the top 3 teams.
Now the Swiss have got a really nice long run on this starboard leg as they go across. They have split from their nearest competition, so they've just got to be watching that Rockwell, Denmark and New Zealand don't make a big gain on that side, but at the moment they're looking okay.
Yeah, I think they've set themselves up well again. They've almost sort of sailed the simpler pattern manoeuvre-wise here. Probably 2 more manoeuvres for France and for Italy, 1 more manoeuvre for Switzerland. I don't see the Swiss overtaking those first 2 boats, but they look well set for a 3rd place here, Todd.
A team we have not talked about, though, is Emirates GBR. They have such a massive lead, you guys, from day number 1 that they really can just coast in with not much of a performance in the last race of the day. Keep it simple, keep it clean, keep it safe.
Yeah, they can top at the 6th. They've not been out of the top 3 all weekend.
Yep.
We saw them with the tech team on board.
Right.
I'm just wondering what's going on there. I mean, hopefully we can get on board and find out. You just don't want gear failure to be a thing. Of course, I say that watching the French coming around in first, and there's no bigger gear failure than that. But looks like they're going to get to bring it home in front of the fans.
So race number 6, the 2nd race on Super Sunday. We missed them yesterday, but they reintroduced themselves to the fans here. And the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Team France. Nice little comeback by the French as they get the win with room to spare. 2nd place will go to the Red Bull Italy squad. Roger Tita, as we mentioned, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 4-time NACRA world champion. The Italians take 2nd. And 3rd place, another surprising team having a great run here in Portsmouth, is Sebastian Schneider and the Swiss. They will take 3rd. Now the battle on for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, and in that race to the final, I think, New Zealand a solid one. They were last off the start. They fought back for a 5th. Decent result there. Emirates Great Britain are in it as well. This could be a big race, but Australia in 8th need all the points they can get. I don't think they're going to gain any more here, so expect Slingsby to come out swinging in the start of the next race.
Emirates GBR will grab 6th place and the points with that, so their lead should increase. It'll be Mabudla Brazil with one of their better showings here. They'll finish in 7th, just ahead of the Bonds Flying Rouge, but you got to think what could have been, Stevie, for the Bonds Flying Rouge had they not got that penalty versus Canada.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to see that gate 2 again at some stage from overhead, because there was an awful lot going on, and the umpires would have been very very busy in there. The Australians appeared to be quite a long way from an incident, but sometimes even if you're a bit away from it, you still kind of caused it, and they were on the inside of a turn, and if they weren't entitled to be there, which I can only assume they weren't, given that the Emirates umpiring team have given them the penalty, then that's how that penalty's been passed on down the line. So huge result for the Australians in that, and yeah, lost an awful lot of points in no time at all.
Germany Deutsche Bank will finish in 9th place, and they will pick up their points with Canada, Spain, and the USA obviously unable to race here because of technical issues. They will not get any points, as will Spain. Looks like, Stevie, as you pointed out, they could have done some damage to the boat. We'll hopefully get a report from them, but Canada will pick up that last point. They have been up and down all over the course these last 2 days, and Canada still trying to figure out how this whole area in the Solent works.
Do you know what I think? Probably there'll be a few people fairly shaken up there. They might be needing to get into the Bonds Flying Rouge and get some change of clothing after that one, because that was just huge at the bottom there. Very, very tight moment for the Canadians. Did well to avoid a crash, but never quite resettled.
I think that Emirates GBR is in. They have already punched enough points in that they cannot be knocked out, because it would have to be Australia to pick up 10 points. They can't overtake them.
There you go. Well, that answers your question. If I'm on Great Britain, I'm taking time to fix my boat then. I want to watch here Switzerland and Australia. That's the real battle for this final. Of course, Italy could pull something out of a hat. Does Slingsby go aggressive and try and attack the Swiss before the pre-start? I'd keep my eye on that.
1 minute to go until the final fleet race here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix. Portsmouth, a lot of points on the line. So Emirates GBR is in despite the fact that they have issues. The work has been done on Spain. They are back up in sailing, still in the fight. The USA, they are up in sailing. So this should be very interesting. You've got the best team so far over the last 2 days. They look like they might be sitting this one out.
Yeah, well, that's maybe not such an issue if they're already in that final. We see the Bonds Flying Rouge well positioned. Switzerland are putting themselves right in the fight there now. We see the favoured place on the start's going to be straight out the middle. Still a very, very short run to Mark 1, and you want to be on the inside of that if you can. North Star Canada well positioned. Spain, he's going to have to think up something pretty late here, and it's all going to be on your timing into the line. The Rockball Denmark are trying to find a gap. There could be a gap for the New Zealand or the French here at the bottom of the line. Looking for that line to turn white. The boats are going to wind up. Here we come into the start now. Australia are too close. Burling spins it down, but it's going to be Delapierre. Perfect again out the bottom of the line. The French are going to take some beating from here, and Seb Schneider on board the Swiss. Wow, the Swiss fans are going to go wild, because they're going to be in a good place at Mark 1 once again.
Mark number 1, and it is France that roll around. They push the Swiss to the outside. North Star Canada also in the fight.
Now we have to wait for Kiwi step.
Well, we know the British are in the final. We know the New Zealand team and the Swiss were the next two, and they are second as third as it sits. So that would be our final. The Bonds Flying Rouge. Slingsby, he's first to manoeuvre away, and this is your moment, Tom. That Australian boat has got to overtake a lot of boats and hope for mistakes for the Kiwis or the Swiss if they have any hope of making the final.
You can see, and the wind must have shifted around to the left there, because the boats are allowed to go. They're going much further past Mark 1, and you can see a lot more boats wanting to turn right at gate 2.
The Swiss have done it. Look at that, Hannah. The Swiss have dived inside the French. They've obviously read the wind really well on board that. New Zealand, classic Burling. Try and take a mark where you're the first boat out of it. Try and sail in clear air. He's not in this parking lot that's on the right turn, as we see Australia trailer park round the outside.
A little bit of good news. Emirates GBR, the team that's in first place right now that doesn't really need any points. They are back in the race. They will sit in 12th, and I'm wondering, Stevie, if they're just going to nurse this thing around, make sure all the tech issues are worked out before the event final.
Yeah, they could be, but look, middle of our screen, the Swiss are off the foils. I don't know what they've done there. They've obviously felt like they needed to get out, and they've gone from first to fourth in the brink of an eye. Bad manoeuvre, I think. All the wind's gone really light. Lisa, what's happening out there on the track?
Yeah, the Swiss were under pressure around that rounding, and then went for the manoeuvre and just fell off the foils. It is really patchy out here, so the lulls, so the light patches are bigger, and the wind is kind of coming up and down. The day's changing a little bit, so certainly tough out here. Quite an open course. It looks like Australia's had a terrible manoeuvre as well out on the other side.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've seen as many mistakes as I'm seeing out there today. I mean, it is a bit choppy. You know, it's quite a turbulent water here in the Solent, but there seems to be an awful lot of mistakes happening. Well, the French, I mean, look at this. This could be 2 wins in a row for the French team. They're making it look pretty easy.
Yeah, they are, and I think sort of fortunately for the Swiss, it looks like the Australians coming across from the top of the screen had a bad maneuver as well, but you can't afford to maneuver if you're down speed. You've got to get away from those marks, build the speed before you choose to do your maneuver. Otherwise, you risk falling off the foils and having to rebuild, and you can see how long it takes to get back up to fleet speed.
Those are all channel markers in the middle. Of course, you've also got Spitbank Fort in the center of the course, which makes it even more tricky despite the gusty winds and the current. So the world's best sailors are trying to figure out this puzzle right now as we go on board the Bond's Flying Ruse. There's Tom Slingsby, hand on the wheel, trying to work some more magic yet again. They currently sit in 5th place, Stevie. By my math, they're going to have to pick up at least 3 or 4 more spots and hope the Swiss drop back.
Yeah, they need a 5-point swing on the Swiss, don't they? So in that race to the final, it's going to be really down to the Swiss making a mistake for the Australians to have any hope of getting there. The Aussies would have hoped to be out in front and look for a win here. Slightly high on the foil there through that manoeuvre, but good save. Straight into a good stable boat there. Tash Bryant steers the boat as Slingsby comes across, and they're up and running. They've got the right of way over the other boats in the fleet here, but he's not going to like to see that at the moment. He's still behind the Swiss, but he's back in the game. Right of way with Australia. He's coming in fast. The Bond's Flying Ruse are on a charge.
Yeah, I just need to be fast.
Tom Slingsby looking for speed there. Here we go. This will be tight.
Oh, Seb, that's a
my
big
goodness.
Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about that. We had the rights to go on the inside. That was so tight. Be interesting to hear if anything happens from that incident there. So he's got space now. It's going to work out for them long term, but that was beyond brave by the Swiss there.
It went outside the... Yeah, just...
Yeah, they need to really keep calm on board there. It's pretty easy to feel the heart rate go up, feel the tempo go up. Oh, I think the Germans have caught the mark there.
Oh, no.
Germans off the foil. I think maybe if they caught something there, got very close to the mark. They've spun the boat. They're stopping and the foils come up. I think maybe they've caught that mark on their foil or something. A massive incident there again on the German boat. No penalty for the Swiss, I'm hearing from the umpires. So Snyder threaded the needle. It's surgeon-like going through there as the Kiwis have overtaken the French. The black foils are on a charge, and are they gaining the momentum at the exact right time in terms of setting themselves up on top form for the event final?
A straight shot in for the black foils as Peter Burling and company move right on in. And look at this. They are on even points now with Emirates GBR. Switzerland would still be in that final. And Australia, Stevie, Hannah, they are running out of time.
Yeah, that's right. I really like that right turn at the top there because it means you can do one less maneuver. So if the Swiss can make it down to this right turn, they'll have cut out almost 2 maneuvers, whereas the Australians are going to have to work hard to get to this mark.
Swiss are going to get real slow here. They're going to get real slow. They're going to have to do a flip-flop jibe. Punchy to come back the other way, I'd say here. They look like they're going to. So they're going to end up behind the Aussies here. Oh, no, Australia splits. Slingsby's going for it. He rolls the dice here. This is a big moment in the race, but he still needs the Swiss to lose places. So I guess in that sense, it was a sensible call by the Swiss. Minimise manoeuvres, lose a couple of places, but just look at the points on the left there. Australia need at least a 4-point swing. If it's tied on points, it's the winner, whoever does best in the last race, that is going to get out on top. So Australia just need a 4-point swing.
And, you know, the Australians have been in this position so many times before, in the last race before the final. The Swiss, for them, this is a different position, defending their spot in the final in the last race.
The Bond's Flying Ruse, the 3-time champions in SailGP, recently purchased by Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, looking for a big performance here in the UK. They currently sit in 4th. They're on the outside looking into Stevie's point. They need a 4-point swing with the Swiss. And right now they are 3 and 4. Emirates GBR, New Zealand, Stevie, they look safe. They look to be in the final, but the battle is on for that 3rd boat that's going to make it into the event final.
Yeah, and if you're ever trying to cover or watch out for one boat in particular, you want to put yourself in roughly the same patch of water as them. And that's what the Swiss have done. Really mature decision. They took the left turn, manoeuvred early, and I expect them to manoeuvre fairly soon to stay roughly close to the Australians, because they can even afford to be behind Australia, but just pretty close to them, as we see the New Zealand team, well, they're down the road here. Here go the Swiss. They set up to manoeuvre, trying to stay roughly parallel with the Australians.
A bit of
And
margin
I
and
think
we're
they're
fine.
setting themselves up for a right-hand turn at this top gate. We'll have to see if the Germans did touch that mark with the end of their T-foil. Is it still in the same spot, or has it been dragged slightly out of position?
I think they hit the anchor line on board that German boat. There was a message from the race marshals, so I think that's a big error by the Germans. A real shame for the end of the regatta here for them. And Denmark as well back in 11th. There's a few teams that are really struggling here when perhaps they're starting to be under a lot of pressure on the whole overall championship situation.
So what will the Swiss do? They're currently in 4th place as they approach this gate. There you see Quentin Delapierre at the last moment making an option and a turn to his right. Meanwhile, the Black Foils, they have all but checked out. And here we go. It is North Star Canada in 3rd, the Swiss in 4th, and here come the Bons Flying Rouge in 5th.
Yeah, Bons Flying Rouge have the right of way here. Switzerland needs to avoid any incident with the Australians. They could turn, and they've got to be confident of crossing ahead. Slingsby will hunt him. Slingsby needs to park him up. Oh, that's a big cross there. That was a punchy call. That'll be a question asked, no doubt. Find out if they're clear ahead, whether or not a penalty goes on that Swiss boat. I think they were clear, but they're putting a lot more risk in than perhaps they need to.
So now the Bons Flying Rouge try to pick up more distance, more speed. Meanwhile, Peter Burling and the Black Foils out in front by more than 100 meters. Quentin Delapierre and the French, who got the whole shot at mark number 1. They currently sit in 2nd place. They're in the event standings right now, and it looks like it's going to be Emirates GBR New Zealand in safely, and the Swiss have just held off the Aussies.
Yeah, I just heard from Chief Umpire there was no penalty there. That's the Australians hunting the Swiss, so great news for the Swiss here. They just need to nail one more good manoeuvre, and they're going to find their way to a final. It would be a massive result for the Swiss. Huge moment for them as a team to get themselves into a final, but another huge moment. Last time we were in the UK, it was the Black Foils that came away with the win. Well, Black Foils look like they're in pretty good form right now. This is the race, Switzerland, Australia. Australia must keep clear. The Swiss are going to be nicely ahead here. We see a good cross for them. Great moment for the Swiss. They just need to stick this one more manoeuvre at the bottom. The Australians will have one last chance to dive inside, but they need more than just to overtake the Swiss. I don't see it happening for the Bons Flying Rouge from here.
And as we turn our attention back to the finish line, the Emirates winning moment once again goes the way of the Kiwis. Peter Burling and his squad get the win in race number 7. Quentin Delapierre backs up their win in race number 6 with a 2nd in race number 2. So just like that, they pick up 19 points in just 2 races sailed. North Star Canada will come in 3rd on the final race.
Running up.
A nice breeze here.
And sailing at 80 here.
And Switzerland, Stevie, by my calculations, it looks like they are going to do just enough to get in. They will finish in 4th in race number 7. The Bons Flying Rouge pushed them. Tom Slingsby did everything he could possibly do, but they're going to come up short, and that position by the Swiss will put them into the event final, their very first event final in SailGP.
Yeah, what a result. Hats off to that Swiss team. First ever final. Look at the relief and the excitement on that. Big, big moment for them. Bons Flying Rouge, that's 2 events in a row that little mistakes have cost them places in the final. Slingsby will be livid about that. The only relief he'll take out of this is the fact the Spanish are going to miss the finals as well. So big, big one in the overall standings. The big winners here could be the Kiwis as we go towards that final, because they'll be looking to maybe jump to the top of the leaderboard if they can win this event.
Butler Brazil will take 6th. 7th place goes to the home team, Emirates GBR, but they are safely into the final. And to your point, Stevie, here comes Spain. They had that problem in race number 6, had some damage to the fairing. They will finish in 8th place, and that'll have impact on the overall season points after the event final. We'll tabulate those. Good weekend for Red Bull Italy and Ruggero Tita. That squad, Stevie, for me, for my money, did some great improvement over the last 2 races.
No, I agree. I think they've sailed really, really well. They'll be happy. I think whatever any team you want as a new team, you want to build as consistency. You don't really want to go and win a race and then come last in the next race and just say, oh yeah, we won a race. It's all about trying to be consistent. Tight moment here, real battle in the back. The United States have got to keep clear there. They had to keep clear. Denmark had the right of way. Rottwell had to spin it. Oh, but these 2 boats, they've just had a shocking clear. Okay.
This is for 1 point. This
It
is a
was.
battle for 1 point.
But it was a late change, of course, by the Danish, so it was not a foul by the US team there. The Danish spun the boat towards them, giving the United States no opportunity to keep clear. So it's all clear for the US team coming across the line here, but it's been a bad day for that US team.
US SailGP will pick up a point. Remember, they missed the first 2 races on Super Sunday because of technical issues. Good to see them finishing, getting some points on the board, as Rockwell, Denmark's got to be very frustrated with their weekend, and that last maneuver really sums up the weekend here in Great Britain for them. Already got the 3 teams that will compete in the event final near the start box. We are less than, oh gosh, coming up on 90 seconds to go until this shortened race, Stevie, and we're hearing it's going to be a shorter race than we've seen in the fleet races.
Yeah, just one race, 1 lap of this race, so, you know, that starts is going to be absolutely crucial. But Dylan did mention it is puffy and gusty out there, so there's the opportunity to find more wind and make those overtakes. And, of course, Hannah Mills, strategist, she's got some work to do there if she wants to make that happen. But I think really it's going to be all about Dylan's timing at the start, and then can Hannah find some space on the racetrack.
Nice. Going past at 102.
Okay, Kiwi's in late.
There's the lineup for the Blackfoils. Peter Burling, Leo Takahashi, of course, Blair Tuke on there, Liv Mackay, Louis Sinclair, and Marcus Hansen, the big grinders up front.
They're going to have to be working hard into this pre-start. There's a lot more space on the course, so a lot more opportunity to make sure that boat's going at top speed all the time.
First timers in the final. How about this lineup, Stevie?
Yeah, it's a big lineup, and they've got a very, very strong grinding setup there. Matt Gottrell, Stu Dodson, absolute powerhouses. So that's going to be good news for Arno Sarafagis on the wing there. Going to be able to get that Swiss boat going fast. And right now, Rolex Pole Predictor sits on the Swiss. We heard that the Kiwis were late, but they're going to dive inside. We're hearing that it will be 2 laps the racecourse now. So there is going to be plenty to play here. Emirates Great Britain are early back. They're going to struggle. They've got good control, but they're going to struggle to be fast at the gun. I quite like where the Kiwis are at the moment if they're not going to be late. On United, the Great Britain team here turn the boat towards the line. Swiss are coming in fast. New Zealand are going to be slow. It's all about timing now. How's your timing, Seb Snyder, at the bottom of the line? Line goes wide, and he's absolutely nailed that on board the Swiss boat. The Kiwis were late, and the British team are going to struggle to get over the top from here. Got to keep clear of the Swiss team, but they are not overlapped. Will Fletcher be brave and spin the boat down in front of the Swiss?
And at mark number 1 in the event final, Dylan Fletcher plays it smart, gives room to the Swiss and Seb Schneider. Peter Burling's not out of this just yet, but this is a shortened race, so we'll see how that all plays out. But it is the Swiss that have the controlling position right now as they line themselves up to gate 2.
Well, they've come up with a great move on board the Swiss boat. Burling first to move away here from the fleet. He's going to have to go right, but he's got space. Switzerland and Emirates Great Britain are slow, and all the boats are talking about wanting a right turn. I reckon the Swiss and the British could get real slow here before the mark. Could be an opportunity for the Kiwis to come in fast around the outside.
Yeah, that's right. It looks like the Swiss, are they working down to a jibe to take that right turn?
They are, but they're making a meal of it. They've gone way wide. The Blackfoils are going to be right back in this here. They were very slow for that manoeuvre on Switzerland there. Great Britain split the course, and now, where do you see more wind on this race course, Lisa? We've got a split, and the Blackfoils are back in it.
I actually do like where Emirates Great Britain are going. I think the day has changed from before, and you know, it is really tricky out here. Each little patch of the race course is quite different, so I think it's more about sailing the wind that you're in at that moment. It's going to be hard to cover.
Massive lefty here.
Yeah, and it's going to be about finding the space on the course on the lifted tack, the tack taking you closest to the mark. The Blackfoils seem to have made good advantage of that poor rounding by the Swiss to get inside and lead that tack back across the middle of the course where they'll meet Emirates GBR.
This one's crucial, this cross here, Todd. We heard Hannah Mills say big lefty. That should favour the New Zealand team. That should mean New Zealand and Switzerland are sailing more straight up the course, and at the moment you can see Emirates Great Britain sailing nearly parallel to our ladder lines, and that's why that lead is hemorrhaging right now. Wind has shifted in the favour of the Blackfoils. Swiss are still in it. Fletcher's going to have to find some magic if he's going to get himself back in this race. The wind speed across the course, well, there's more wind on board New Zealand and Switzerland as well. So not only are they sailing less distance, they're also doing it at higher boat speed.
7 legs in all on this event final, and you can count out the Blackfoils at your own peril. Just when you think Pistol Pete might be out of it, Stevie, he comes up with this, rolls the dice, and absolutely nails it. So now you've got the Blackfoils out in front. Switzerland's dropped back to second, and Emirates GBR goes from first to third.
sort of become the hunter now. It's so shifty, that could not be the worst thing in the world for the British, but that might be me being an optimist, as the Blackfoils haven't made many mistakes today. And look at the speed on the Blackfoils. They're nearly 5 kilometres an hour quicker on board that boat. They're going to set up for a manoeuvre. They will have the right of way, and if they lead out of this next gate, then it's going to take... Oh, they've made a mistake there. They nearly lost the rudders, or they got very wobbly through there. Not a great manoeuvre. That's opened the door for the Swiss to turn inside. Can the Swiss hang on?
They're going to have a tough time working up to that left turn, but if there's any right-hand rotation in that wind, then they might be able to make it.
Hey, we're in this. We've got one and in.
Yeah, they're going to go right turn here at the top here, the British, but so are the Kiwis. That's been the favoured move all day. We got another split, Lisa. We're going to ask you to make the call again. Which way do you like out of this top markers? New Zealand lead at gate 3.
Very nice, guys. Nice.
Well, I do like where New Zealand's going right now, but I think long-term, Switzerland's going to be in a stronger position.
And remember, the Swiss looking for their very first win in an event final. They get to the event final, they check that box, now they're looking for the big prize. Will they walk away with the big trophy at the end of the day? Right now they've got to contend with Peter Burling and Emirates GBR and Dylan Fletcher. This race is far from over, like 4 of 7.
Yeah, good manoeuvre there. We see as Emirates Great Britain, well, they are back in it. Hannah Mills is right. They're very much in the race. It looks like a lead change at the moment, but it's only a paper lead change. We'll see when they come back together. I like the wind shift that the New Zealand crew have. They're sailing nearly straight down the course, making great progress towards the next gate. I think the Blackfoils have boosted out here.
Keep working the deep motor.
And they will have right of way when they come back together, but it's whether they can make it down to that bottom gate without any more manoeuvres.
It's pretty good for it at the moment, doesn't it, Hannah? I like where they're getting, and Burling's calling for the deep mode, so he's saying, let's not go as fast, let's try and just make sure we make it to this right turn at the bottom. That was where they made the big gain with the right turn. They also made the big gain by having a bit of space. There was a fight between Switzerland and Emirates Great Britain that brought them back into the race. What's going to happen at the bottom here? Does Swiss try and cement second, or do they roll the dice and hope to take a win by splitting away from the Kiwis? It looks like Snyder's hunting the win.
It feels like a risk though, doesn't it? That mark looks like they've sailed a lot of extra distance, and we saw how much Emirates GBR lost from going this way last time.
Yeah, they did. It'll be interesting to hear what wind shift we get here.
Nice pressure. That's a good angle, righty, not
Like righty on the shift, so the Swiss need to really look to take a manoeuvre fairly soon to be progressing up the ladder line a bit more here. It's a battle between Emirates Great Britain and New Zealand on that side of the course. It's going to be hard for Emirates New Zealand to overtake going the same way, but never rule out Dylan Fletcher and crew. They've been going so fast all weekend.
This is very close. Remember, this is like 5 of 7, so it's to the top of the course. They'll come back down, then it'll be a left-hand turn right in front of the Adrenaline Lounge and the packed crowd that have turned out to see this event final here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Portsmouth.
Gain to New Zealand. Gain to New Zealand over Switzerland there, and a big one. And Emirates Great Britain are pretty much on their line, so I'd anticipate, as we can see, slightly slower speed on board New Zealand, but they're just trying to claw their way up to the line of Emirates Great Britain, put themselves directly in front of the British and disturb the wind on Emirates Great Britain.
There you see the Rolex chasing time. It is Emirates GBR trying to track down the Blackfoils and Pete Burling. The Kiwis have an 8-second lead right now, but we've seen that evaporate so quickly on these courses. This is going to come down to just a few maneuvers, Hannah Diamond. Can you stick it when you most need it?
Yeah, and you can just see from the body language on the board Blackfoils, they're so calm all the time, especially when they're in front. I think they're going to be hard to catch.
Effectively, if the Kiwis make no manoeuvring mistakes right now, easier said than done, then it's their race. They've got it in the bag. But of course, mistakes can happen quite easily out here on the course, and they've got an interesting decision to make. It looks to me like the Kiwis is setting up for a right turn at the top again here, so an extra manoeuvre coming potentially, and they've got to be careful of the British. British have right of way. Burling needs to stick this. Here we go, big moment. Comfy ahead for me there, clear cross. That was well judged, but my lord, that was brave. Swiss are off the foils, Todd. They've got a problem. So this is a straight one-on-one match race here, but massive gain on the right turn. A lot less distance sailed for the Blackfoils here. We're hearing the Swiss are out, so it's a straight fight. Can Emirates Great Britain give the home fans something to cheer?
Problems on board the Swiss boat, so they are done. They will finish in 3rd overall, but the battle is on now. Who will take home the top prize here in Portsmouth? It is the Kiwis on the left side of your screen, Emirates GBR on the right. There are the numbers.
Yeah, there's more wind on board the New Zealand boat, and that's pretty good news for the Blackfoils, eh, Hannah?
It is, but you can see that trail in the water they've just left. They've just had a big nosedive, managed to recover it okay, but I think there's probably they're going to be hard to catch, but it's definitely not over till it's over.
So it's going to come down to the final maneuver when they get to the bottom of the course. It'll be a left-hand turn and then a short sprint to the finish line. For Emirates GBR, this would be their first win since Sydney, going back to event number 3. But for the Kiwis, this would be their first win since the first event of season 5. That was in Dubai way back when.
Yeah, this is 2 of the Titans, isn't it? So we don't really expect many mistakes here. It still is a bumpy country road that they've got to get it home on, but this is the last maneuver. Blackfoils stick this, and it's in the bag.
Boom! And just like that, Pete Burley shows the rest of the fleet who's in charge. This will certainly shake up the overall standings after 7 events. But the winners of the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Portsmouth, it will be the Kiwis, the Blackfoils. It is your Emirates winning moment.
Boom, indeed, Todd. That was clinical, and they looked like they'd made a bit of a mistake at the start as the fireworks go off in the background. It's all happening on Portsmouth seafront there. What a shot that is. Great result for Emirates Great Britain. But yeah, amazing race, just clinical from the Blackfoils.
So the Kiwis get it done and they spoil the party for Emirates GBR. You go back to when this race was contested, Stevie, back in, I think it was Plymouth in season 3. And again, it was the Kiwis that won that event. So they obviously know these waters or this southern part of the UK. I know it's a big stretch of land, but wow, they seem to do well here.